Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live. Let me excuse me, just tweet that out here. Okay, good. That actually worked. This morning was a little bit slower, but I hope everybody had a great trading day today. Gosh, it was pretty wild, but I think it helped being able to trade from the home office because was able to kind of track things real time. Different candlestick movements that were that were kind of happening, that were transpiring intraday. So basically, just want to take a real quick look here at the market. So we'll take a look at the S&P Cash, the SPX, and just kind of see what's going on here. So we had a amazing reversal day. We'll talk a little bit about how to catch that reversal later, at least what some of the signals were that you could have traded to make an attempt at grabbing that. So yesterday was a little bit more difficult, right? It took us kind of by surprise, and in a way. Although there were very glaring candlestick formations in various equities, as well as the indexes that could have made it a little bit more obvious if the bearish sentiment wasn't so strong. There is a wider view, right, of this of the trend here, and it kind of dates back to 2009. After this big, after the big drop in 2009. So, some thoughts are, and you can look at this a couple different ways, that we just finished a fifth wave up here. So this could have been like a finish of wave 3, then 4, and then 5, right? And we're starting a huge, massive bear market. So just keep in mind that it is possible. That's based on essentially using, basically saying here is like your low, and then it's like 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. But if you start, kind of, down here, it's possible that basically we're not even done yet. This could have been the end of or start a little bit early. It's better to see on the weekly. But anyway, the idea is that maybe this was the finish, instead of this being a wave 5 finish, that it was actually a wave 3 finish, and we're working on a wave 4 correction, and then shoot to new highs. So, really, it's all about the next couple weeks. Just trying to see how. I think Paul just kind of tweeted this out too. How we handle this 26, the low right here, right? So the 2603.54. So as long as as long as we stay below that, and whatever is going on right now, the bearish view could still be in place. But if we blow through this whole count needs to be reevaluated. Maybe this was just a wave 4, some sort of A, B, C correction for a wave 4, and then we're working on getting to new all-time highs. So, so keep that in mind. I'm not 100. We just have to see how the price action is. The last 2 days, the end of the days have been, very bullish, right? I mean, yesterday was a major reversal, and today, I mean, it really looked like. Let's go take a look here, just at the hourly. Yesterday was like an all-day rally, right? But today it really looked like we were going lower, right? I mean, I even thought it was possible that we'd test yesterday's lows. So this kind of gives the point of catching reversals, right? And that's where we look for our candlestick bars to kind of give us clues, right? And so I was really busy focusing on Amazon today, just as because a 100-point move yesterday is just awesome, So I mean, it was down 78 today, and then all the way back up again. So really, it was like from the down to the up, it was like a 150-point move today. So, but really, kind of, this is just sort of looking at the SPX. Today, very similar to Amazon. A lot of similar structures, in a lot of the stocks today. But here, today was one I tweeted, hey, we don't have VWAP on our SPX, but here we do. And so we had at the lower end of the range, we had an inside bar, and then looked to trade that to the downside. That was around like 1409, right? And so we had this inside bar, so we can look at the price action on that, right? So that inside bar, tried to break to the upside here, only kind of went over like by a tick, and then came back in. And so that was really kind of, when it got back under the VWAP, that's a pretty good shortable location, because you can assume if the breakout failed of the inside 60, that will at least come back down, right, and test that. So that was a good place to short here. I mean, it kind of was like hopping around up and down, and then it finally pushed to that 1409, and it even got all the way down to this. Well, this one only went down to 1403, right? But the beauty is the next bar, inside bar, right? So it gave us another opportunity to short. I kind of tweeted that out at the time, and then so here, you know, you had the low was 1405, 1404.80, and then it had a nice push down, right? And so the hourly then hit its 20 moving average, right? Also hit a reaction line here too, and then put in this reversal hammer, right? Not the best looking reversal hammer because it's red. If it were a nice solid green hammer, right, you could be like, okay, you know, we're putting a reversal in. But it was definitely one to be like, okay, well, obviously I need to cover my shorts, right? And so at this point, you know, from here, then it launched. And so there was which one had like a really clear. It might have been so Facebook had a really clear, you know, didn't put the inside 60 here, but put a nice reversal bar there. The Qs again in a red one. Maybe it was the SPY. Let me see. I'm just gonna click through the FANG stocks again real quick. Nope. So Facebook had a nice reversal bar. I mean, they all had reversal bars, right? And so those reversal hammers are always worth watching, right? So yeah, Amazon had that one. Netflix, maybe it was maybe Facebook had the best. No, it was Google, I believe. Hold on. Google and Facebook, I think. Yep. So Google had the best reversal bar today. So you know, didn't quite do the inside 60 that Amazon did, right? But it broke out about simultaneously with it, had a nice drop, and then when it put in this really high, you know, high green hammer here, you kind of be like, okay, this thing's reversing, right? And so you could put a speculative position on, you know, to try to break through, and then once it got through the VWAP, you know, that's, you know, a good place to add some longs. And I even tweeted out too when Amazon, because I was talking Amazon mostly today, I was like, okay, Amazon is now officially over the VWAP, right? Which means we are officially no longer bearish, right? Unless it bounced back down, right? And we got more strength, the market was going up and all that. So that was kind of where I switched gears to NVIDIA, which is why it helps to just kind of focus on, for me, the FANG stocks. One, because they move a lot, and two, you can trade options on them pretty well, and you can even trade the stock, whatever. But NVIDIA was key because of the, all right, so we knew that the reversal was kind of taking place, right? So let me just talk about that here. Oh, we go back to the hourly. So we knew the reversal was kind of taking based on this reversal bar, right? So market, everything else is starting to turn green, starting to get over the VWAP. So of all of the FANG stocks today, I liked NVIDIA as a potential to ride that wave, and it gave us like 2 points, so maybe even a little bit more. And so because it had these areas, right, that were not, that some of the other FANG stocks had cleared, but NVIDIA hadn't cleared yet. So I was looking for you know, nice squeeze on this one. So we had last month's lows, right? We're here at 133.31, right? So didn't quite get there today, but I was hoping, you know, get another push once it got through that. So this is definitely one to watch tomorrow. You know, futures are down a little bit right now, so it would be nice, you know, for the bullish case if we stayed red by the morning. Thank you. A little tick down. If we stayed this way, you know, buy the dip, you know, in this situation. So, you know, until proven otherwise, right? So, but so that 133 level is really key, you know, on NVIDIA to get some momentum. And then it gave us two opportunities to get one in the morning, you know, so that was worth a try. It didn't really work out, you know, but then obviously when the whole market was kind of turning, that gave a much better opportunity. So here, the low was 128.46 of the weekly bar, and that's why I tweeted out. I was like 128.50 was a good place to try to go long again. And I tweeted earlier this morning too. Didn't do quite as well, but then here, so 128.50, and then got all the way as high as well. Let's see what we did. So on the daily, yeah, so we got as high as 132.38 on that. Wait, no, that was from the open. I don't want to trick us up here. Yeah, so here about 128.50 was the cross of the VWAP, right? So that gives a little bit more strength, right? You know you're bullish now, right? You're also reclaiming the weekly range, right? And then it just kept going, right? So 128.50 all the way up to 131.50. So a little over 2 point move right there, which is pretty solid, right? And pretty easy to trade, right? And that, excuse me, NVIDIA is not as expensive as it used to be. So you could actually get some pretty decent prices on the stock itself. So, but yeah, nice push, just like everything else today. Google too. I would Google off of that reversal bar. You know, speculative long there because it was so strong. you know, on that reversal bar, you know, could have been pretty solid, and then it broke the VWAP and then just really launched. So 1026, so all the way up to, I mean, a good over 25 point move right there, which is pretty awesome. So so yeah, so NVIDIA is pretty set up well tomorrow. You know, right now after hours, you know, you're looking at 130, 131. You know, if it gaps down again to that 128.50, you might look for another break into the weekly range, and then hopefully try to get a clear 133 and above if it can get some momentum. So that was that, and then let's see. So this morning we went live at the open, which was fun because we put on 2 successful trades. Yeah, 2 successful trades, and including one was Facebook, and one was Apple, right? So this is just sort of another example of a reversal. On this one we used on Facebook, we had the on Apple we had the 15 orb, right? So we had the opening range bar on Apple. So that was a good one. Ended up playing out really well to the downside. And so here's your 15-minute bar. So you just do the break here. The low was 154.15, right? And then it went all the way. I mean, a nice quick move was this, you know, 152. So a nice 2-point move there, right? Kind of, you know, came back up, hit your 10 moving average, you know, and then kind of just followed that back down, right? So ultimately good for about 4 points. And then, you know, of course, you could have caught the other reversal potentially on this. It's kind of a weak reversal hammer, but it did. You had this shooting, you know, inside kind of shooting star, or even an inverted hammer. You could look at it because it's in a downtrend, and then, you know, this kind of you know, was a reversal of that reversal, you know, internal reversal there, and then kind of launch back up. So at Facebook though, we just wanted to. I also kind of wanted to show at the open, just using the 60 anchors, right? Because remember yesterday, after the huge move to the upside, right? We finished here with a 60 bar that was pretty strong, right? And so, when I say anchor bar, right, I'm talking about point of reference, right? So, I mean, it wasn't like the greatest. I mean, it was pretty bullish. It was almost a Marubozu continuation bar, right? So you would think, if you saw this bar intraday, just like you saw this bar intraday, it was a pretty strong bar, right? You'd get some follow through on it here. So if we were just kind of trading in a ideal world, right, we would think that we would get some movement off of that, right? And we did. But when we were looking at it this morning, you could see that it was really weak, right? Now initially, right, I think we were stalking the you know, the initial bar there, and it was like super strong, right? We were looking at Facebook, like, this is going really strong. Okay, well let me look at that in terms of the point of reference from you know, from yesterday's close. And then what we saw was by looking at the 60 anchor here, right? It got pretty weak, so then it was kind of like drifting back in a little bit, and I was like, you know, guys, this might be a good opportunity to short. And of course, we were looking at our future indicators, right? Everything was pointing down, right? VIX was pointing up, and so, okay, you know, the market's coming in a bit. Let's see if we can at least reclaim this bar for $1.50, right? And so with a stop just at the high of the day, I think the high of the day was 134.70. It ended up going 20 cents over, but I played options on that, and it ticked that so quickly. Even by the time I went back to look to see if it was getting close to take out the high of the day, you could just tell from the price action it was just a quick tick up and then kind of came back down. So so I found that pretty interesting. So we tried that one and then used this as a reference to try to reclaim this range. It ended up working really well. Even one put on it ended up, you know, being a pretty good trade on it, right? And then went even further downside. So you basically got, you know, $1.49 here, and then your real body bar, so 132. Then another $2 there, so really a 4-point move just using that anchor bar on it, right? And then never got really any follow through, right? So we had this bar here went inside, and then, you know, tried the upside, right? Tried the downside, and failed both times, and then kind of put in a spinning top, took that spinning top down, and then put in your reversal hammer, broke that to the upside, took the VWAP back over, and then, you know, finished with a spinning top close. So this is just a good example of catching a reversal. You know, at the open, just using your anchor bar and having a really low risk, high reward trade at the open, right? So that was that one there, and then trading the orbs, and then just one more I wanted to show real quick. I think Amazon we had put on the 15 orb list because of its the news that it was getting through you know, from India. And it was pretty. It wasn't the best one. What was the one we tweeted out earlier? Was it Boeing or Caterpillar? Maybe it was the S&P. But just say Boeing, Caterpillar too. But the point is you could also use your opening range bars. Let's go back to Boeing. The point is you can use the open range bars too to catch these kind of reversals too, right? So here on Boeing, once this chart comes up, right, you could see that if you, and Steve Harvey Oswald put a good a link. TOS has got, somebody put some code out there to actually program this in to really do the visual the lines for you. I tried plugging it in and couldn't get it to work, but if you could get it to work, it's pretty slick. But anyway, so you have your 15 range bar here. It broke that to the downside, right? So 306, right, all the way down to 3. So a 3-point move here. That's kind of chopping around all day and all that stuff. But when the market was reversing, you can go back as a reference point here and be like, okay, let me try going long here if the market's looking super strong, and it was. So 1311. And then all the way up to 1317, so another 6-point move there. So you had 3 points down plus 6, so you had 9 points total on that trade. Now, granted, for the most part, these type of days are not normal. I mean, we're getting, I think with the Dow, I think it ended up moving. It was up 1,000 points yesterday. It was down like 500 a day, and then up another. And then ended up. I mean, so we're talking another 1,200 point move today from the downside to the upside. So I mean, it was just pretty wild, right? So, but these are techniques you can use when you know that the market's really moving, that you can catch. It was pretty boring today too, like in the middle of the day. So this Boeing is really representative of that. And then Amazon was too. I mean, anytime you sit around for an hour and you watch a bar. Let me pull that up real quick. When you watch a bar go inside like this, really small bar, right? Yeah, you can expect more expansion from it, but when you're watching that form, it's really boring, right? So it's like, okay, I have a whole hour of just basically doing nothing. But from contraction comes expansion, and so boom, boom on that on Amazon. So yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about there. I wanted to talk about Facebook at the open, talk about catching reversals, how to handle reversals by looking at the hourly candlestick bars, and also using your orb method too. And then again, trading the open using the 60-minute anchor bars. So that was pretty much that. I could go over a bunch of stocks and show how they all worked out and all that stuff. But for the most part, a lot of good trades today and we had some major names on our orb lists that actually had some news on it. So you could have traded a lot of those pretty significantly. So Amazon, real quick, just I finished tweeting today. I just if the bear sentiment stays in place, right? Amazon has got to stay below, and I'm going to keep it on the list again tonight. It's got to stay below 1505.01, and that 1505 to have this count still works. So this wave 1 down is 1505.01. It's the low of that bar, right? So it looks like a wave from this high, right? As it broke through this triangle, right? We had 1, 2, 3 here, and then I think we're still working on a wave 4. And I was trying to do an ABC count, and I was like, wait a second, this is kind of looking like a triangle. And Amazon does like to put in a nice triangle, so it is possible that, I got a little tick above it here, but it is possible it could be doing ABC, could come back down tomorrow at some point, DE, and then look there to see if that triangle is done with this wave 4. As long as it doesn't get over this 1505 tomorrow, some version of that could end up transpiring, and then we could see more downside on that. So I do like how the Amazon wave count is kind of staying intact here. So we just have to keep an eye on it. Now, if we have a huge push tomorrow and it takes this out, this could have been just a sort of completion of a full wave, and we're going back for a full reversal back to the upside. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I want to touch on. Tomorrow's Friday, so just keep in mind, Friday options. Tomorrow's going to be a lot of big theta burn by noon, around noon time. So I usually on Friday like to trade next week's options if I'm trading options, and then hopefully we'll get some sort of another crazy day tomorrow so we can trade it. Otherwise, if not, we might see some chop. I have a feeling that after 2 big days, even the market is, especially with a lot of folks on holiday and all that stuff. Of course, the algos can do whatever they want to, but for the most part, I would expect, especially on day 2 days, 2 big green days, I would expect some sort of pause day, right? Especially huge green days like this. I mean, these were a bunch of red days and all that stuff, but these are huge red days, green, right? So I would think that, we'd probably like pause, maybe put in some sort of doji day before the weekend, right? And then, have some trading after the New Year's. So just something to look at there. But yeah, for the most part, we'll just keep an eye on it. Here, I mean, we talked about this and through Twitter, but this this is a Morningstar reversal, right? We got below a prior. The real body is below this real body, and then we had a real piercing green bar go through this one, and so this setup right here is a Morningstar reversal, and then a nice hammer continuation bar today. So this this setup does look like it could be a bottoming pattern, right? We just have to see how now price wants to handle all these different levels, right? So that's pretty much all I got for tonight. I think we covered that. Oh, yeah, the other bar I wanted to show, candlestick bar, is basically it's called separating lines, and they're rare, but they would look something like these right here, although not so much. You want to see it in the middle of a pattern, a continuation pattern. I might be able to see it on like a 15-minute bar. But what happens is the bar, wherever the bar closes, right, the next one opens and goes above it. So so basically, let me see. It's a little hard to find an example. I'm going to put I put examples in the at the bottom of the description. But the idea is you would have essentially a red bar. You would mostly see it on a daily bar. You would have a red bar if you're going up. So let's go back to when we were in an uptrend. Here. So you'd have a red bar, and then you'd have a gap up the next day. This is a good one here. So so you have this red bar here, right? Price closed down here, but the high of the bar was right here. You gap above it or right at it, right? Okay, so there's a big separation, right? It's almost a 180-degree reversal, and then you get follow through. So it looks just like that. And then in the downtrend, it would look something actually like this. So this ended up working pretty well. So you'd have a red bar, right, where you close here. Then you open below it, but close really near the close of the other day. So this is separating lines. They should, ideally, they'd be equal. They don't have to be. But you see something like that, you have a whole 180-degree reversal. You've essentially tested those areas. You're really close to it, and then you get follow through to the downside. So those are actually two really good examples here on the S&P, on the SPY, to see what that bar is. And I'll have I've got the description down at the bottom of the description, so for separating lines. But keep an eye out for those on the daily, because they are good continuation patterns to get some more momentum to the upside or downside, depending on which one you catch. And so let's just see if we saw any here. Yeah, so this would be a good example. So you have a red bar followed by a green bar that got as close as it could to the close of the prior day, and then you had downside follow through. This was good because downside, then inside day, then back down again, right? And then let's see if I can find another one. So in the downside, it's red then green, right? So that is not a separating bar. But yeah, so they're hard to come by, but when you see them, you can jump on them, right? So even here is pretty close. So downward, yeah, sorry. Yeah, downward green bar, upward red bar, and then more downside follow through. So called separating lines. So check them out. Check out the full description and the description link. It's a free link there. And that covers just about everything I wanted to talk about tonight. So at this point, if anybody's got any questions or chart requests, feel free to put them in the chat window, and we'll go through them. So I'll just run through everybody's now, and so everybody's comments, questions, and all that stuff. We'll go through that. So Clayton, what's going on for Brazil? Yeah, totally. So, but at least you're in that nice warm weather down there. It's it's still pretty cold up north here. So, but glad to see you. Merritt, how's it going? Is tomorrow going to gap up again? Good question. I don't know. So maybe if we gap down, that'd be great, because now that we're kind of putting in this, we put in this Morningstar reversal and we got a nice green day. Now we could look to buy some dips, to try to get some further upside. But if we do gap up tomorrow, we're gonna have to see. How we handle it. But we'll look and just trade. We'll look at trading our 60 anchors and our 15 orbs in the morning. So, and I plan on going live tomorrow too. So if you guys want to jump in at the open, feel free, and you can kind of see what I'm looking at. So, Paul, what's going on? Thumbs up. Absolutely. Good job on all that. Manoj, how are you? Good to see you. Shirley, hello. Jimmy, good to see you. Oh yeah, NTFRI, what's up? Current price is holding for 2 days. That is right. So we will have to see if we get some of that follow through. Jeremy, how's it going? What does orb mean? Orb 15 or 30? Absolutely. Let me put a link here. So if you go to my my Twitter at TrueBubblehead. I have my pinned tweet. I've got a set of rules, and if you click it open and go to the thread, I've done a description of the strategies I like to trade, and so which are really good for if you're a day trader in intraday. Right now, the best strategies I have for swing trading are obviously the longer term candles. I've been working on trying to prove in some situations that those work, but Elliott Wave so far has been the most reliable so far. But let me see. Let me pull the orb method. So an orb is an opening range bar, and then an opening range break. So I'm going to put a link here in the chat box if you scroll to the bottom. But you can read about it there. So basically, the 15 orb, right? So if it basically only traded if there's some real news going on with something. So if you go to, SPY was a good example here. If you traded the 15 orb on that. But but let's go Apple. So Apple was on the list today. So 15 hours, if there's real news the same day, you just wait 15 minutes for that first bar to form instead of getting caught up in all the nonsense of the open, and then you trade off of that, right? So here you've got your 15-minute order bar here, and then it breaks to the downside and you go here, right? And then so that was really kind of what we're looking at as a trade. But here later it did break to the upside, but was kind of nasty there. So not the best one to look at because it had such a deep pullback today. But there were other ones that you could have done better. But usually I like to go in the direction of the gap. So we're gapping down today. Had some news about production, maybe spending more money in India or something like that, and then boom, nice downside move of that. And then usually day two I'll post the 30 orb list because sometimes you can get follow through on day two, but a lot of times it takes a little bit more time to get direction. So unless there's fresh news on it, you could work and trade the 30 orb, which is that 30-minute bar, and a break of that to the downside or upside, depending on the direction of the overall trend, right? And you can use them for reversals too. It's a little bit trickier, but let me just say, for instance, here you could have used this 30-minute bar yesterday, traded that to the downside. Then you have then when the big reversal happened, you could have traded here, or it was 149, all the way up, 10 points there. So it's a good reference bar, right? It shows you where all that indecision happened and where the boundaries were set at the beginning of the day, right, at the open, and then you can use that as reference point for the rest of the day. It's really quite effective. So that's the orb. Manoj, for mid day reversal, should we look at hourly and the 5-10 minute chart? You can, yeah. So my best trading range is the 60 for me, the most reliable. But it does incorporate what's going on, of course, at the lower levels. It just kind of takes it all into place. So you just have a more stable bar there. I just find that when I go to the lower time frames, I tend to get stopped out more, right? Because I might have tried to do here like an inside 15 break to the upside, and yeah, it broke a little bit, but not much, right? So I would have maybe lost a little bit of money there, moved my stop up real quick and only made a few bucks. And then you kind of get here and you're like, oh my goodness, well now it's inside here, shooting star inverted hammer, let me try that to the downside. And you would have had that, but then it stopped, and then okay, well here's your hammer, let me try that. But this is kind of inside, and so you can get really tripped up on the candlesticks in the lower time frames, unless you go and you look for maybe bigger patterns, right? Like kind of like a cup and handle or something like that. And then, especially on the 5s or the 1s, and kind of work off of that. But a lot of times those 60 bars really encapsulate everything that's going on in the nitty gritty, right? So all that stuff, all that work that was done on those 15-minute bars is encapsulated in this nice hammer right here. And so that's why I primarily day trade off of that, because it gives a lot of clues right into the overall motion. Then you can go back and look and see what's kind of going on, right? To be like, okay, well, all the MAs are crossing over here to the upside. We're about to break on the 60 to the upside. We're approaching the VWAP. Let me make the VWAP my first target, right? And then if it breaks through the VWAP, I'll move my stop up here, and then then you just kind of capture the breakout there. So that's kind of how I look at it. But everybody's different. Some people trade off of moving averages on smaller time frames. I just get a lot more confidence, and I get stopped out a lot less on the 60, and I don't get like scared by the price action on the lower time frames. Jeremy, what's going on? So 15 orders breakout on the 15-minute bar. So it's the opening range bar. That orb is the opening range bar. So it's just that first 15 minutes because it sorts out everything that's going on at the open, right? So here's, I mean, it's kind of look at a different stock here. So look at Amazon. This is on the 15 orb list for today because it also had some news, and definitely tradable, right? So, so here's your 15-minute bar. See how it was like big wick right there, big shadow, big upper shadow, big lower shadow. You don't want to be in that, right? I mean, unless you're just super, awesome ninja with hotkeys and you can just boom, 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 and then boom, boom, boom to get out, right? Hit and run real quick. If that's not my style, I can't do it because it's just too much risk and too scary. And so, so here you wait for all that stuff to get shaken out, and then you wait for the market to take direction. So here was your 15-minute orb, right, the first bar, and then you had two. You can look at the upside and the downside. Primarily, it was to the downside because I like to go in the direction of the gap, of the trend, the overall trend here. And so once it broke down here, right, it gave some nice follow through. So that was 1438 all the way down to 1406. So a nice 30-point move on Amazon there. Just trading that orb bar. So opening range bar, then opening range break. So hopefully that helps. What's going on, Shirley? Let's check out Azul. Azul. Okay, so let's see. Oh, you know what? I think I meant to had. Did I have JPM? Just real quick, sorry. I had JPM on the list today. I just want to see what it did. Because they were getting slapped with some fines. It wasn't a lot of fines, but still $100 million or something like that. Yeah, so that was tough to trade. Glad I didn't trade that today. Okay. Glad it never really made the list. Okay, so Azul. Let's check and see. Obviously had a pretty good move today. Gosh, isn't that annoying when you see those big red bars? And that's what happens when you get a little bit less expensive type stocks. But let's see how it's going. We've been looking at this for a while. Here on the daily, put in a couple nice bars. Yesterday we had the hammer, right? Today, nice big green spinning top, more consolidation, right? More kind of cup and handle. Trying to get through this median line. Hopefully get a nice break to the upside. Low volume the past couple days, but still worth watching, right? And the monthly, weekly still looking good, nice and green. Nice green hammer forming on the monthly, and then our we're just kind of working around this median line here, so just looking for a break. Got to try to get through and get past this 27 level, and then hopefully fill that gap for you. So, yeah, Microsoft, of course, yeah, no problem, Jimmy. Let's see. So Microsoft, this is a great one. We were looking at this one yesterday. So basically, we were looking and seeing how it handled, this pitchfork support line or resistance line right here. And so yesterday was a perfect, just kind of tagged it and came back down and then pivoted, right? And so obviously the reversal today got us through it. So let's just see, last time it got through it here, it kind of came back in. So let's see if it has any strength here. So look to, in this case, let's go back to our candlestick formations. And so we've got a weekly hammer forming, which is good, kind of more long term. Obviously red bar here, but the key level that it broke most likely today, yeah, because I remember it was down 98. So when you go to the bigger time frames, anytime you break a key level on a bigger time frame, you typically can expect some more momentum and movement, right? So here we broke into this 99.35 at one point today. So I'm going to put a line on that and just show you what it looked like on the lower time frames. So whatever, 99 is pretty close right there, right? So if we go here, so we got weekly hammer. Nice daily hammer, right? So shooting star setup, right? Because this pierced pretty well into this bar. It had a real thick lower bar. I like to see like a smaller lower, real body lower bar, but it did hit that median line, bounce up, come back and put a nice hammer bar. And so let's go look here on the daily. Yeah, so I mean, it would have been an awesome trade today to catch this here, because you could see we opened, came down, broke the monthly low, which is this orange line, right? That's your monthly reference line. Broke that monthly low, and then when we came back and reclaimed it, right, we got a lot of strength to the upside. So let's see how that played out on the hourly bars or the lower time frames. Oh, I'm sorry, that was your daily. So that was your hourly. So my bad. Yeah, so today we opened, right, broke down through that bar, consolidated, and kind of followed the way the rest of the market went, and we got up through, as we punched through the VWAP here, then we got more momentum as we crossed through the monthly bar, right? So we did that, came back down, retested that level, right? This is happening intraday. Retested the level, so you could have had your stop there, or you could have just been like, okay, just watch the price action, see how it's going, and then if you looked at the lower time frames too, it wasn't even the last 15 minutes kind of came up, just retested a second. If you have those levels as references, I guess you just wanted to test it, a little price discovery, and be like, yeah, no, I want to get back into that monthly range. So this is looking pretty bullish, because we've gotten over this this support line here, and now we just have to watch and see if that becomes resistance. Crazy ticks after hours, but just keep an eye on it to see if it can stay above this support, and of course above the last month's low. Now tomorrow is the last day of the month, so we're going to have a new monthly bar, and let's just double check again to see how that's looking. So new monthly bar is going to be this, depending if we push a little bit higher, it might turn into more of like a red type hammer bar, and might give us some some further direction. So it might look something more like how it did this month here, just bigger range. So there's Microsoft. Yeah, no problem, Jeremy. My pleasure, man. So yeah, just check that out. It's a great reference bar to trade during the day. Let's see. Who do you like to follow on Twitter for trading analysis? What's going on, Razor Lens? Yeah, so trading analysis. At this point, I mean, if you just go to my if you just go to my Twitter feed and just follow me, like you can see who I follow. I don't follow many. I just like to look at. I like to try to keep my Twitter feed kind of no nonsense type stuff. I just like to see charts for the most part. I mean, I will look at some comments and things like that. So you just kind of see where we're at in the market. I mean, for the most part, I can rely on what I know about Elliott Wave to give me a better perspective of what the overall market is looking like, and then using the larger time frame candlesticks and kind of stepping down to see where we're at. And then using VWAP and moving averages as just kind of overall guides as just where we are at in the grand space of price. So yeah, if you go to my follows, everybody I follow usually puts out some good charts. I mean, I'll follow like Citron just to get some, because anytime they tweet something, usually it adds some volatility to a stock. I like to see news with CNBC. I subscribe to a couple things like where I get some just ideas. I don't follow other people's trades at this point anymore. I've kind of been through every service that's out there. But I do like a couple of the guys I follow. I do like to get their input, just their takes on the market. So Mr. Jeff Cooper does a really good job. He offers a really different perspective than almost everybody out there. KPAC has awesome charts. They kind of give me perspective. PRHK, Peter Pan, always does good trend lines, and has good as Option Sniper is awesome. He's kind of like when he puts a tweet out, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what he's looking at. So that gives me a real good perspective of the market. And then Trader Stewie is the other guy I follow. He gives a good swing trade perspective on stocks. So I mean, all these guys combined, put different perspectives out there that I like to look at. Mike NF has really good trend lines to watch. Paul does a great job with the Paul Lambert does a good job with Mr. Lucky 64. Does a good job with the pitchforks and Elliott Wave, and so yeah. So I kind of keep my follows pretty small, just so I can keep my feed just with ideas, just to kind of if I can't look at every single stock out there when somebody else puts a post up, I'll kind of just lets me know what's going on elsewhere. It's just basically another set of eyes. It's kind of how I look at it. So yeah. What's going on, GSK83? Hope you're doing well, man. All right, so let's see. Yeah, Nike and CMG. So good stuff, man. Yeah, so Nike had bad earnings, or had good earnings, but it was a good reversal trade. Hold on, so let's take a look and see what it's doing here. So on the monthly, right, we have 3 red months in a row. It's kind of putting a red monthly hammer. Right now, it looks like it's going inside week. So we'll see how that closes tomorrow. So that could be pretty significant, especially if it closes as a hammer. It is you can't see it here. It's yellow because that's just a quick way to tell me that it was an inside week. So here you had a double inside week, right? And so so it is green though, right? Because the open was 71 and the close at 73. So it's putting in a nice inside green bar. So so it could be some upside potential with Nike. Of course, after the reversals, it's looking pretty strong there. Yesterday was this huge. Every bar was green on the hourly. Didn't give quite the reversal hammer that everything else did, but pretty much at this point in the market, you could have almost jumped in anything and made money going long. But we still like to use our actionable setups. And then longer time frame. I haven't done any major counts on this, which I should. I don't know. I just don't like trading Nike so much. It's the options are tough, and the it just doesn't move like I want. It doesn't move like it should. But it did have a pretty good move today. So if you kind of draw a pitchfork here, pitchfork, you go pivot to pivot to pivot. Right now it looks like it's kind of holding this line here, right? And so putting a little bit of pivot here, so it might test a little bit further upside, and then at that point, right? Just look to see if it starts taking out some more pivots. So, but I mean, for the most part, it gapped down, or it gapped up, filled the gap. It's got a little gap down here now, but it looks like it wants some further upside for the most part. So, so just keep an eye on that one, definitely. So, and then CMG, CMG I think had a notable pop today at some point. CMG's another one that you can make some money off of it if you get some good moves, but you got to catch it at the right time. The best for CMG is just when they, have like some contaminated food, which comes along pretty often. So just wait. I usually just wait for news on that and then just short it. So anyway, yeah. So but right now very similar, right? So it's kind of hanging out up here off of this pivot line, breaks down, goes through the median, pivots again back up. Now let's see if how it kind of consolidates here, if it's got any movement on that. The monthly bar still pretty red, right? Shooting star here, took that down this month. This week, nice reversal like everything else so far, and as we already saw the daily, so we're kind of back through this median line here. So hourly, I looked at this one today because some news came out, just some movement came on it, but real tough to trade today, honestly. So, but yeah, I was just waiting on CMG for some more food poisoning information to come out, or some gross store where they find rats in it or something, and then you can short it then. So okay, anyway, Shirley, meat, let's check that out. MEET. Okay, so meat, let's see, we've got the meat group. Sounds like a butcher shop or something like that right now. But maybe it's like Match.com or something like that. Or what do they do? Gosh, you always find some interesting ones. Fundamentals. It's a portfolio of mobile social entertainment apps designed to meet the universal need for human connection. Okay, cool. So they do all sorts of like dating apps and things like that. Okay, so anyway, monthly green hammer, real nice. Weekly, turning green, kind of pushing up. I'm guessing you're probably going to see some sort of cup and handle type forming. Just be careful with this one. It looks like there is a potential here. You've got head and shoulders, right? Right shoulder, head. Maybe you got like another shoulder here forming, right? It is a penny stock, so just watch this 200 moving average here, right? See how it handles that. It might kind of come up again, and then might be shortable there. So just watch out for that. Inside 60 here to the upside potential, but again, these penny bars, right? 10-cent bars are really tough for me to trade. And I know you could leverage in, but you got to go 10,000 shares or something like that, and then it's like, I just don't like how it ticks against, but here's an inside 60 under the VWAP. You could have taken that. Here's only a 3-cent risk, so 419 all the way down to 409, so 10-cent move right there. And then let's see, daily, hourly. Let's see. I mean, just kind of, like I said, it's kind of got that head and shoulders kind of feel to it. But, I mean, let's just see. Let's kind of see how it handles this level here. Right? Again, might kind of come up again, test the median line. Just, tough one for me to trade. So I would watch it and wait to see, if it kind of comes up and then it kind of curls back over, and then look for some sort of neckline, break, something like activate drawing. Yeah. Something so tough to evaluate. So little movement right in the pennies, but just see how it handles this median line here. If you can get a break at one point or another, but definitely an interesting one. Yeah, GSK Costco, absolutely. Yeah, check that one out today. What was I looking for on Costco? I think I pitchforked this one. Looks pretty interesting. I mean, I did a wave count on it today just to kind of look at it, because if you look at this here as a significant high, right? We have 1, 2, and then this nice gap down here after earnings. This looks like a nice 3 bar. Let me activate that again and just kind of move that there. This one looks like a 3 bar down, and so I'm kind of looking to see how it handles this median line as a potential wave 4, and then look to short it maybe somewhere around this level to see if we can get some further downside movement. So this one kind of wave counted pretty nicely today. So but just want to keep an eye on it to see how it handles this median area, and then I'll look for some active candlesticks to potentially short there. But I mean, obviously, good day today. So Watt, yeah, exactly. Pierre Watt is let's take a look and see what kind of shenanigans they had today. So if we go to let's see, so month is still red. The week is now turned green. Huge volume this week, 41 million. Goodness gracious. All right, so daily. Yeah, I mean, just a nasty, type bar. This one, I remember hearing some news on this today through the Free Benzinga Squawk, in TOS. I heard about it. I didn't have any interest in trading because I was so busy stocking all the FANG stocks. But when you trade news, this kind of bar here, I love these type of bars, because you can almost pinpoint where the news came out. Hold on. Not really. Somewhere. I'm gonna get a bigger. I'm just gonna jump here real quick just to a. I'm gonna go to a 1 minute time frame to see if we had a big spike at some. Not really. Gosh, it did get some regular flow today. Normally, you see on news, you see like a huge spike, and then then you can short it when it comes back in. But this one had a pretty solid up move today. But I guess it was gapping up and kind of had some follow through. But some extra news came out at some point. Yeah. At this point, had a huge peak here at 9:59, kind of came back in, sort of drifting up a little bit after hours. Overall, very downtrendish, right? So, we kind of put in a new spike through it today, but kind of came back into that trend line, right? So, definitely worth keeping an eye on. See if this this resistance now becomes support, right? I mean, it's still got to trade it like a stock, right? So, or like any price. So to see if that becomes some sort of support at this point, and then I mean, you could do at this point, you can kind of, this will put us right at that middle line anyway, right? So just kind of see how it handles this whole range now. So obviously, if it breaks down, right, and gets below that. This trend line, and then breaks through this median line here, I mean, I would probably imagine it's just kind of going to come back and fill this gap at some point. But gosh, look how little that volume is, and then this huge spike up. What? I saw the news earlier. I didn't even really read it. It was up 50% or something like that. Energous rallies after first consumer product approval from the FCC. I gotcha. So that's those guys. Definitely worth watching, keeping an eye on. So surely we've got BGS and BTG. So BGS is B&G Foods. So it looks like we've been tracking this for a little bit. Still kind of hanging on to that support up here off of this right off of this pitchfork. So looks like it's wanting higher a little bit, right? So, kind of consolidating. So it looks like it might eventually, give us some sort of breakout situation. You can kind of trend line this here. Just kind of see. Looks like it is still trying to push higher. So once it breaks out, right, then your target is this, is this level, right? So I mean, if you look at it, bigger picture, we've got kind of a big cup, nice handle. So that break there, it could get you back up to that 3307. BTG. Or gold. Where's me gold? This is a penny gold corp. Looks interesting. Cup and handle type formation working. Nice month so far. Nice week. Nice big gap up green bar week type scenario. Daily green bar. That type of cup and handle type formation here. Right, kind of broke the brim line, so might be working for further upside here to that $3 level. Possibly higher. Nice closing bar here. So definitely worth watching still. Manoj, how you come up with the key levels? Is that fib or something else? So all depends, right? So it's a combination of different things. So I look at the key levels, on the monthly. So I just use the candlesticks just like I use intraday, right? So every candlestick, every high and low is really important, right? So when you go to higher time frames, they become bigger levels, bigger important levels, right? And so for the monthlies are your big macro levels, right? So when you go to like Nvidia, you have this. You just look at how the month is trading, right? Which is longer time frame, institutional type investors type things, right? So you have your low this month here, and so that is a key level for me. So once it breaks through there, based on your lower time frame levels, it's some movement on those key levels. And then the other levels I look at too is I draw pitchforks way off of pivots, and try to see that. And then and I also use Elliott Wave to find other key levels. So the big ones, like for instance, like on S&P, and trend line levels, things like that. Just a combination of a lot of different things. And Fibonacci, I use that too. I mostly use Fibonacci to estimate targets for Elliott waves, right? But for the S&P channel here, had it channeled like all year, so it's basically got this double trend line going. And then you look at the 1, 2, the 1 ABC for 2, and then your line 3 down. Wave 4, for Elliott wave to work, as a rule, main rule is that it's not ever supposed to overlap wave 1. So for this bearish level to work, that's a key level to look at. And I do the same thing with the other stocks too. So like Amazon, key levels, I look for where the wave 1 ended, and that I make that a level too. And then you draw Fibonacci's to see what kind of retracements you're looking at or what type of targets you're going for. So if that helps. Yeah, so I use a combination of a lot of stuff. Jimmy, of course, yeah, no problem. So GSK, which is the best time frame for Pitchfork? So depends, right? So it's gonna, obviously just like any time frame, it's gonna give you different levels of perspective. You can use it anywhere you want to. I use it on the daily, like so here, to get kind of a global perspective, and then I go to the bar chart and I go to the hourlies. Are my favorite to draw them, because hourly is my favorite time frame to work on, and then I will go to as low as the 15-minute bar, just to kind of see how the guts of the waves are, the fractal of the wave is forming, right? So and then the levels are there, and so I just kind of see how it's working on that. So like for instance here in the S&P, I was like, okay, so you have 1, 2, a 3 level down, and then it's like, are we doing in A, B, C? But you really can't. That would invalidate this level here. So probably this was more of a a 1, 2 type stuff. So this is just sort of nitty gritty, type area, type things. But if this were a wave 4 that it's working on, it'd have to stay below that level, right? And and you can look however you want to. I mean, Elliott wave's Elliott wave, but you look here, you've got some support here, right? So does that support become resistance? And so you can kind of look at it that way too. So. But yeah, mostly I'll draw the pitchforks off the hourlies and then look at them on the different time frames, see how they play out. Sometimes I'll go bigger time frame to get a bigger perspective. Alan, what's going on? Let's see. So Yum, let's check out Yum. Yum Brands. This is Taco Bell, right? So they still owe me $1. I got a cheesy roll up there the other day, and they never put it in the bag. And I tried calling. It was a new store, and tried calling. They never called me back. I put a complaint into customer service. They never called me back. I was like, I want my dollars, or what is that? I want my $2. Anyway, but so here, looking pretty interesting, right? So again, another breakout. It's kind of pivoted here around this median line. Then it was kind of working around the median line. Now it's broken out of the median line there. So looks like it's consolidating for the most part. And I know I just drew that on a 15 instead of a 60. But for the most part, you can, if I remove that there, then go, kind of bigger time frame. Looks pretty good. I mean, it is overall looking pretty bullish, right? So it's had a nice uptrend for a while. If we go to these levels here, it's a little more global. So yeah, so it is working on getting higher, right? So monthly, pretty good uptrend, right? If you think about it. So monthly, it's been hammer. So red, green, red. See how it closes inside week. It's working on daily. Obviously 2 strong moves on the daily and the hourly. That put in that's a nice bar here, right? So if you trade this actively, right, that's a good anchor bar to trade tomorrow. So that's a real nice move. I like that with volume. Crocs. I know we just looked at this not too long ago. So let's see how that movement was. This was your uber bullish one the other day. Yeah, so still making its moves, right? So huge pivot. A lot. I just see a lot of upside potential in this. You have this big gap, right, that it held very well, and it's pivoting back up. Have another gap to fill here. It still looks really strong. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe they're gonna sell, right? Maybe someone's gonna buy them out. Maybe Nike will buy them or something like that. So usually that, when you see real bullish stuff, it's like something's cooking, PVG. Yep, still consolidating here. Nice pivot, right? Another pivot. So, then kind of went inside. So, we're seeing a lot of these, kind of miners and, kind of gold just kind of retreating back a little bit, right? So, lots of inside bars. So inside, inside. So double inside bar, breakout, then another inside bar. So, just a lot of consolidation going on here. Needs to determine a direction. But if it wants to, it can pivot and come back down, right? So, yeah, no problem, GSK. Raisha, how are you? Good, yeah, NVIDIA. So we kind of talked about that a lot in the beginning as a profile of using the levels. But for the most part, your months, right? It's got a lot of ground to cover, right? Back to the upside. So really, the next key level is this 133, right? The 133.31. So 13331, right? So that's the prior month's low. So if we have a nice strong day tomorrow, NVIDIA should definitely be on the long list as taking that level back. Right, and then so that should bring us back further up to the week. If we can get halfway through the week, that'd be good. Maybe a 133 break could get us up to 135 to 137. Obviously the daily, is going to start looking better. We did have an inside day too, so that's good. So we could see a break here, an inside day break could trigger. So the high of today was 132. So you get, if you break 132.38, then you could see 133, and then you could see some further push. And we might get a good move on NVIDIA tomorrow. So, if the market supports it. Absolutely. QNST. Quinn Street. Dr. Quinn. Yeah, it looks like it's working on some sort of channel here, right? So, let's see. There's some sort of channeling going on. Right? Yeah, that looks really good. Extend to the right. So it's kind of in the middle of the range here, right? Some you could pitchfork it too, and you'd see where the median is. I know it's the daily, but right. So it's kind of working, up through this channel. So So keep an eye on it. I mean, obviously having some bullish moves here. The month kind of red little hammer kind of putting in. Maybe it'll turn green inside week. Green day. The hourly is nice finish on that as well. Yeah, working up a channel. And then UGP. Nice close on the hourly. Nice. This is nice. This is a nice cup and handle kind of break. It's right at that 200-day moving average. So could get some push through on that. Nice green week. Nice green hammer month. This looks good. Has a lot of potential. Another ADR, obviously. I have Fibonacci's on this. We must have looked at this before, at some point. So, but either way, it has retraced 23.6 of this move here. So whatever this was, like some sort of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be a, it's already retraced this amount. But nice cup and handle type formation, nice bottoming. This is an inverted head and shoulders, right? So you got, almost like a textbook, inverted head and shoulders. So it's already broken that level, right? And so, it might kind of come back a little bit. Just look to see if it tests that neckline again and then goes up further, see if we can get like a 38 or 50% retracement. Keep in mind here, this 50% retracement is a nice gap right there too. So it's looking like it, it could want higher. Of course, ADRs have tons of gaps, but that's a big gap right there. So that's a nice one. UGP. Oh, thanks, Manoj. I appreciate you. Yeah, man, it's my pleasure. I love doing this stuff. Okay, so we have ZS. That's not Z-scaler, gotcha. So Z-scaler, looking pretty wild here. Nice gap up, filled the gap. Yeah, I remember this. I remember trying to trade this as a IPO. It was just like everything else, didn't have a lot of follow through. And then some big wick bars, big wick months here, and then let's see, inside week. Lots of up and down movement right here, kind of really lots of chop, but nice close today. So big day yesterday, reversal bar. It kind of followed the same pattern as a lot of other ones. So it looks like the institutions have this index, or it's indexed right now. So yeah, so definitely could get some more upside moves, especially if some news comes out on it. I want to say it looks more bullish than anything. So let's see how it handles kind of these levels here. Maybe it comes in a little bit and jumps. AG. First Majestic. Pretty sure, yep, still working its way up that channel. So up, down, up, kind of in the middle of the range. Just watch to see how it handles inside 60 to close. I just want to see what the daily looks like. Yeah, I figured it was an inside day. So watch how it handles this inside day. If it breaks it to the downside, you'd probably look to test the end of this channel, and then then go for another long here, and then you might be able to even hit that 200-day moving average on that one. And then BF/B, Brown Foreman. 1, 2. Looks like it's working on a downtrend, right? So it looks like a 1, 2, 1. ABC 2. It looks like 1, 2. It's kind of 1. It's kind of working on this, whatever's going on here. Oh, cancel. It's working on something. Maybe a descending triangle type thing. So just looks down, right? I mean, everything's kind of curling over on it. I mean, obviously it had a good day. I mean, like everything had a good day today. So red month, green week so far, green day, huge bar here. It might just be kind of testing like the high end of this triangle. So A, B, C, D, E. Hard to really tell. I mean, I don't know how effective this triangle is going to be, but it just looks down to me. But keep an eye on it. I mean, a strong bar like that you can't ignore. Of course, there's this too. Little pre-market craziness. Let's see. Let's see if we can pitchfork anything here. Just a lot of consolidation here, so just have to see if it wants to break out of this. Let me update that. If it wants to break out of this. Right. See how it handles. There's a lot of consolidation going on here, so it has to break out somewhere eventually, up or down, or it could just keep consolidating. Then contraction leads to expansion, but I don't like that. Yeah, just a tough one to tell. I mean, it just looks nice day today, obviously, but we'll want to see how it handles if there's any follow through to get an eventual breakout. So, interesting one. Yeah, no problem, Ellen. Appreciate it. Yeah, we go through a bunch of stuff, and appreciate everybody's participation and kind of following along and all that. So, yeah, ratio 133.31. You should be able to get some more movement on that. And I would look for even today's high, a breakout at today's high on NVIDIA. So that's inside day to the upside. So. Enoch, buddy. Yeah. Looks crazy. Alright, so it keeps on retesting this sort of median level. Looks like it might pop up a little bit. Green day, obviously. Spinning top 60. Green week. Green month. Nice hammer month right there. So just kind of use that as a perspective. JBL, my favorite. Not so much. I've traded this a bunch in the past, like just day trading, and I always like the price of it, and it usually got some moves directionally intraday. But yeah, still holding this gap really well. I would look here for a breakout of this high, this 24 area, 2440. To get some further. Here. Yeah, just look for a breakout of that pivot, and then for some further upside. I think eventually I try. This was on our 15 orb list originally, on this earnings, but it's holding this gap really well, right? So I like that. And TDC. Nice moves. I mean, it's looks like it's working on moving its way up. Yeah, looks pretty good. Green week, green day, nice bar to close. So nice anchor right there. Yeah, so that's a nice one. And then Zynga. I feel like we're going alphabetically here. Let's see. So Zynga. Let's see. We are. Interesting. I don't know. Middle of the range. Might want to test higher. It's got to get over this $4 mark if it wants another push. That's a nice pivot to try to get over. Right? It's got a bunch of pivots to kind of get up to, but lots of choppiness. But still looking at the right stuff, I would say. Nice cup and handle here on the daily potential. Got to get over that 200 day. It's got to get over $4. Got to do it and stay above it. That's good. Well, I appreciate everybody for jumping in. Tons of participation. Really appreciate it. Anybody, if you didn't participate or whatever, feel free next time to put your ideas in. Tomorrow's Friday. I plan to trade live at the open again. So we'll check out our anchor bars. We've got lots of hammers that close the day today, so we'll use those as points of reference. We'll use as anchors. Then we'll see if they give us any juicy news in the morning for us to trade some 15 orbs tomorrow. I'll put the game plan out in a little bit, so you can kind of see what I'm looking to trade if we have a long, if the market's looking up, and we'll have some stuff hopefully to the downside if the market's looking down, and then hopefully have an awesome trading day tomorrow. So, of course, Shirley, appreciate it, and hope everybody has a great night, and I will see you guys in the morning.